beginning of the pandemic, you're working in Pineville, at least to start. Then what happened?
We had a Pineville officer come in, and I was doing an override because I was a manager at the time, and I was doing an override for one of our salespeople, and the cop came in and said we weren't social distancing and said we had to shut our doors down by 3. So I called Manny. Janet happened to be in the store. He walked outside with my phone for an hour and talked to Manny. We had to close the door. The next day we came back. And we were there for a couple days, and then the guys came in with 3 of them and basically told my boss that we had to close or else. And so you guys made the decision to close. And a couple of my managers and I were like, well, we don't want to furlough. We want to be in business. We want a company to come back to. So we said, hey, put us somewhere. And that's where Kannapolis was born.
So you guys took the Pineville team and you went to Kannapolis, and then you renamed it
Pinevilles.
Pinevilles.
Yeah.
That's so funny. And you had the pineapple drawing.
We had 4 of us, and Eric, that was the only one out of the Kannapolis store. So there was 1 of him and 4 of us from Pineville, or 5 of us from Pineville. So we decided to name it Pineappolis and marry the two teams.
Join Charlie Maloof as he explores the personal journeys of Broad River Retail's very own memory makers. Welcome to Stories from the River.
Hey guys, welcome to Stories from the River, the Kym Truglio episode. Kym joins us today. Kym, this is going to be fun. I've been looking forward to this conversation. You ready?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay, so before you joined the River, I'd love to just kind of know a little bit about you, your background. And so tell us a little bit about that.
So I've always been a salesperson, even when I was young. I didn't know a stranger. So I've been in sales most of my life. Prior to this, I was at a very large dealership here in the area, in the finance side of things. And before that, I lived in Las Vegas. I was a personal stylist and worked for BB, which was a really big company, was a personal stylist for them. And before that, I did car dealerships and just a little bit of everything. I ran my own stores as well in the retail setting. So I've been a salesperson basically my entire life.
Okay. One thing you and I share in common, which you love to remind me of, is that we're both big Chicago Cubs fans.
Yes.
How did you get to be such a Chicago Cubs fan?
I didn't have an option. I was born into it. My grandfather was a huge Cubs fan, and half of my family is too. And I just have pictures when I was 2 and 3 years old walking around in Cubs gear, and it's either Cubs or Bears when you're in Illinois. So Cubs was my team of choice from my very early days, and my grandfather and I used to watch the games together, and that was kind of how him and I really bonded at a young age, and so I've just been a fan ever since.
Awesome. And you're sporting your Cubs blue today.
Yeah.
All right. So I think you've got an interesting first day, right? I mean, you've been with us now 7.5 years. And what is so interesting about your very first day?
So my first day was a little dramatic for the company. It was the day you guys, I think, decided to roll out Storis for the first time as like an actual thing. And it was definitely a hard day. Claire Hall was actually in charge of training us in the Matthews store at that time in the back. And we were trying to get on Storis. And I guess it was something with licensing or something. And the whole system crashed and we couldn't get on and we couldn't train. And people were freaking out. I remember the Matthews management team was like, didn't know what to do with themselves. So yeah, it was a very interesting first day because we had to but Claire was great. She revamped everything. And then I remember going into the store a week later going, like something's going on with this store, not knowing that it was a brand new launch. But we caught up after a while. So but yes, it was definitely something to remember.
You joined January 19th, 2015.
That was my first day.
The day we converted to a new ERP system in the Kannapolis store.
Yes, in the Kannapolis store, yes.
Which is so funny because you just told the story about how you went back to Kannapolis.
Yes.
Take us through the various stores that you've worked in for us.
So I started in Kannapolis as before we had HFCs in the whole program. I started as a salesperson there. And then I had an accident a couple years before that, before I moved to North Carolina. So I had to take care of myself with my injuries and have a couple surgeries. So after being in Kannapolis for a while, and I loved it, it was considered like the good old boys store because there's a bunch of guys and then Kathy and I. So Kathy was one of my first friends in Broad River because she was like the first person that I had ever really met. So I was there for a while and loved it, but it was just a very different clientele for me that we got along, but I was so different, and I would talk a lot, and I'm fast, and it was just different. So when I came back from my surgeries, Mooresville came up, and I'd always heard such awesome things about Mooresville. And so I was like, okay, I'm up for the challenge. I'm ready for something that's very challenging and different. So I decided to go up and meet Kevin Kuhlman, and he decided to take me on and mentor me. And that's just kind of how I got to Mooresville. Fell in love with the store, the people, Sandy, Gina, Lisa Griffin, Dan, like the whole group was just great. And they welcomed me, open-hearted Bree. They open arms welcomed me in. And I was doing really well there. And then my mentor said, hey, I'm getting a promotion. I'm not sure where. Do you want to be on my team? No questions asked. I said, yeah, no problem. Not knowing, it was Pineville, not knowing that Renee was coming to Mooresville, not knowing anything. A girl of my word. And I said, I'm going. And my mentor's going. I'm going with him. And that's kind of how I ended up in Pineville. And 4.5 years later, I'm still there.
Wow, awesome. So you've worked in 3 stores for us: Kannapolis, Mooresville, and the mighty flagship Pineville.
Yep.
Got it. And interesting transitions that led to each one. Tell us about like what was going through your mind going back to your first day? Like, was it like, I made a mistake, or like there's chaos happening? I don't know what your expectations were or what led to your hiring, but what's going through, like we're going through like some turmoil as a company. What are you thinking?
I was just kind of like, okay, well, this is different. I wasn't necessarily worried, but at the same time, like, well, they're growing, they're doing something, but something's clearly not working. And then just trying to, I think Claire really put on a brave face, and so did my store. Because when I came in, we had 3 new hires in that, and some of them were freaking out, like, no, we'll figure it out. Mm-hmm. So they kept a really cool head about it. But the first day it was kind of like, oh no, well, it happens. There's just too many people in the building or something. Mm-hmm. So, but after being at the store for a couple of weeks, we're like, oh wow, this is a big system change. Like, what are we doing?
And things weren't going right.
No, not for a while.
Yeah. So what was going on for your first few months in Kannapolis when you were starting in sales? Were you having delivery issues, supply chain issues, systems issues? Were you just frustrated?
I think it was more of the systems, because we just didn't, something about license, and I don't know all about it, but it was something about how many licenses we had when we were on it, and if too many people were on the system, you couldn't get in. Mm-hmm. And when we were transitioning over from the previous 2 stores, you couldn't find some deliveries. That didn't really affect me because I was new and I was learning. And I was still in that transitional phase where I wasn't really selling yet. But to some of the salespeople that were there, their paychecks and stuff kind of got messed a little bit because they couldn't get stuff delivered when they should have. And trying to explain that to a guest that we were going through growing pains, they didn't want to hear it. They just wanted to know where their furniture was. Yeah. But our boss, Jeff LaFata at the time, really tried to keep our guests calm and really had a good conversation going with most of our guests. So most of them understood and went along the ride with us to try to keep them going.
Did you see light at the end of the tunnel during that tumultuous beginning?
Yeah, it took a minute, and I was like, I just don't know, because we were still having the glitches, but they were getting fewer and fewer. But yeah, it was, to be honest with you, it was when I met you in Kannapolis, because normally you don't meet an owner just strolling in nonchalant, not like, oh, hey, here I am. You were very down to earth. You were very people oriented. And you just had a conversation with me like, hey, I'm Charlie. Nice to meet you. And I was like, okay, so clearly this guy knows what he's doing. He cares about us. The fact that he's in the store just checking in. I think we had a conversation about the Sornella bed that just came out for your wife or something. And I was like, okay, this is who I work for. I'm going to stay and show it and show out and help, because clearly he is about us and as a company, and he's here showing his face when other people would hide in the sand. So I was like, okay, well, I'm going to give this company a chance because he's in the building. He's not hiding. And that was literally the turnaround for me, to be honest.
Wow. And you think that's why you stuck with it? And
oh, yeah, for sure.
Okay. And then, so we pulled together, we got through it. We had some amazing memory makers get through it. So fast forward a little bit, right now to 2017. And that was a pretty interesting year for us. We rebranded our company identity from Broad River Furniture to Broad River Retail. And we introduced this thing called career paths at the sales associate level. Now that's going to come into play here, because I didn't introduce your title at the beginning for a reason, because I want to get into that. And if I recall correctly, you became a home furnishings expert before you became a $1 million memory maker. We just had Dwayne Baker on the podcast, and I think he was the very same way. I think you two were the only two people who kind of did expert first and then $1 million memory maker. I guess maybe if you do that, you get on the podcast.
Yeah.
But why was it so important to you to achieve that expert designation?
Well, I'm a very process-driven person, if you don't know me. And the expert title was important because when I moved from Mooresville to Pineville, I started in February when I wanted to go in January and start the whole year. So moving from a smaller store to a completely opposite end of the city store, you have to start over. It's like a new job.
Building new clientele.
So I had to build clientele. So when I realized the first semester I was good, but I didn't quite hit where I needed to, and towards the end of the year, I knew that maybe it was a little out of reach for me. The expert tag was what I needed because I had 2 goals that year: hit $1 million and get my expert tag.
And this is 2018.
Yes. And so I decided, hey, at least this is more important. At least I can get one of the 2 and make sure that I get it. So I had the numbers for the second semester and I qualified, and I think I missed hitting $1 million by maybe $30,000. Okay. So I'll take that. It was a loss, but a win at the same time. I got to go to the dinner at Del Frisco. It was great.
That was a good dinner.
Yeah, that was awesome.
That was a good dinner. I think Dan Pashala is still talking about that dinner.
Probably. We're ready for it again.
It's going to happen actually next month, or the month that this podcast is probably going to air. So how challenging was it to hit the expert designation, and then how meaningful was it? Was it to achieve it and to be an expert?
Challenging. It's definitely challenging because you have to be great across the board. You really can't. Especially in the beginning, you had to hit everything. There wasn't 4 out of 5. Like, you had to hit everything across the board. So my challenge has always been credit apps, VIPs, because it's something I'm great at, but I need to always be perfect at it. So that was something I've always struggled with because I'm good at it, but there's the cash buyer. So, it is at the end of the day, you got to do what's best for the guest. So I wanted to make sure, and I still maintain that I want to make sure that I hit it across the board because it's important, because we're mentors. We're people that people look after, and we lead by example. So it was very hard to get, but very meaningful at the end, because it's like, if I can do it, you can do it too. And if you can do it at a small store, you can definitely do it at a big store. It has its own challenges, but it's also extremely rewarding. And it is important because I am a mentor to people, and that's important to me.
How much do you like that PTO?
It's great. When I get to take it, it's great. It's great. When I get a chance, when I can do it, yes.
Yeah. You have told me about that before, so I
the PTO is great. We love it.
Yeah, we'll keep it like that. I think it is more challenging to be an expert than a $1 million memory maker because we have a lot fewer experts. I think we have like a third of the amount of experts than we do $1 million memory makers. So math would tell you it's a lot more challenging to achieve. Okay, beyond that, Orange Crush. So, what do you remember about the Orange Crush tours that we had in 2017, 2018, and 2019? So it'd be OC, the original, OC2, and then OC3, the Memory Maker tour. You may have been in different stores for each one, or maybe in Mooresville for the first 2 and Pineville. So what memories stand out for you? Which stores were you in for each one?
I was actually I had just transferred to Pineville, the very first one. And that was when you guys came in, and that was a spin wheel. And I remember you guys were so excited. And the Pineville team was just not into it. We had just got new managers, and everyone was just kind of, we have to be here on our day off. And you pretty much told them, like, hey, this is a corporate function. I love you all, but you need to dress to impress. This is the flagship. You need to dress like it, and you need to act like it. And if you don't want to be here and you don't have the enthusiasm, you can gladly become a guest. And people really took that seriously and like, wow, he really means business. This is a serious thing. This isn't just a joking. We're trying to do something in our company so you to be aware of what the company's doing, where we're going. And we put a lot of time and effort into this. You need to be supportive, and let's enjoy this together as a team. And once you said that, I think it kind of clicked in a couple people's head, like, hey, he means business. Like, we need to do this for him. This is our family. We need to do this. And they did. And then the next year,
you triggered my memory. I think I vaguely remember the disappointment, because Pineville didn't always have the spirit and the passion.
Yeah.
But there was a turnaround.
Yes. The next year, Kevin and I got together with, I think Antoine was there at the time, and Kay, and I don't know, I can't remember if Kathy was there yet, but we decided, I said, we are not doing that again. And Kevin's like, yeah, we are the flagship. What are we doing? And I was like, okay, I'll make us a banner. We got smoke machines. Michael made us amazing pastries. We're like, this is going to be an event. And we made sure you guys came through the front. We turned the lights on. I don't watch whatever, but I think we had like some Starship or sales, some Star Wars something playing like the flagship Enterprise background or something, and you guys were really excited. It was smoke machines and blacked out, and the song was playing in the speaker. Like, you guys were really excited, and I think we redeemed ourselves on that.
Isn't that the year that y'all took us out to the outside break room and you had painted it and made the outdoor living area? That was really cool. I think you had all the juices and the pastries and
Michael made those. He's a chef and he's fantastic, and he made all those for us. That was awesome.
And I think y'all's business plan was on 10, that one, if I recall correctly. I think you guys kind of came out guns blazing and we kind of maybe went from worst to first. So
and I had just became the sleep manager at that point. Right. So I only had, I think, like a month to plan. And so I was like, okay, someone's got to help me with this. And so, like Molly was with us at that. No, it was Molly was with us and Kevin. And we all sat down and we tried to figure it out and make sure that we weren't, flagship was going to be, because you were given points at that point. So to win like first place, second place, we weren't going to lose. We were competitive. We weren't losing after the year before.
It's interesting. Kathy, you mentioned Kathy a couple times. She's mentioned to me before and I know Orange Crush creates some anxiety and a lot of work. It's like getting your ducks in a row and your house in order, your business in order. But she said that's always her most favorite time of year. When we used to do those, she really enjoyed those. So and they create great memories. I mean, I know they're a lot of work, but there's a lot of pride that goes into them.
Well, Kannapolis had a good one too, and they did that like flapper 30s or 40s theme. Like it was really they showed out really well that year too. They had a good time on that one.
Okay, so then becoming $1 million memory maker, you became $1 million memory maker for the first time in 2019. So expert in 2018. $1 million memory maker in 2019. What did that accomplishment mean to you?
It was like, oh God, thank goodness. Like finally. And I only had, I think, 3 days left of the year. And I was like, if I don't make this, I'm going to be so upset with myself, because I wanted people before when I moved to Pineville, they're like, are you sure you want to go to that store? It's a lot. Are you sure you can handle it? It's a lot. And I was like, I can handle it. I worked at the biggest store in BB in Las Vegas. If I can handle that store, I can handle I can handle Pineville. So just to finally said I did it, especially being a manager, that role is a very big responsibility in Pineville. So to be able to manage that size store and be able to hit that $1 million that I haven't achieved, I got so close a couple times before. And so it was like, thank goodness I finally did one of my goals that I wanted to reach. So it's like, okay, it's off my back. Now I can go the next year and go even more.
Other than starting there, for the full year as opposed to starting a month later, what else clicked for you that year? Like what was changed for you?
Settling in and getting some of the riffraff out, bringing some new people in, starting to try to build and not that it wasn't good before with Renee. Renee had a great culture going, but it was a different culture that we were building. The company had literally changed, and we were trying to reorganize and rebuild a different culture with the new staff that we had and with the new what Broad River wanted. So we just started clicking as a team, and we had got some really good younger salespeople in that were just hungry and, just really kind of getting together and really gelling as a group and as a manager team, because I was new. And so we just had to start building that trust with each other. And we really just started clicking as a whole. And you saw Pineville just take what was already great and just make it even better.
Well, you've clearly had an impact on Pineville. They keep setting records and hitting new, there's one constant, and that's you. And then the change is you guys just achieved Black Diamond, which is no store's ever done that. First of all, I think it went to Diamond maybe during your tenure.
Yes.
And then it went to Black Diamond, which is it's the top of the ski slopes. So have you been $1 million memory maker every year since 2019?
Yes.
Even throughout the pandemic?
Yes, I have.
That's quite impressive.
Yes.
So let's talk about the pandemic, 2020 and COVID. We kind of led off with that story. And then 2020 happened.
Yes. COVID,
the pandemic, face masks, store closures. Tell us about your experience during the early days of COVID and go into a little bit more about changing stores and what that was like. And so just give us some of the sense of what was happening then.
Yeah. 2020 it started off really great. We were out of the gate. We had just gotten this new hire. Chantel was going to be phenomenal. And we just started training her. And then, bam, March 2020 happens, and we don't know what's going on. You guys didn't know what was happening. Store closures, all this. Do we have to wear masks? Are we going to have to furlough? What's going to happen to the world? Are we going to die? Like, it was a lot to take in, and customers were scared and salespeople were scared. But we just tried to run the business. And as a manager at that point, we tried to be the support to lean on, because if we showed fear, everyone else would fear. So when you guys gave the option for furlough, we're like, do we take it? Do we not? And a couple of us were like, no, I don't want to sit at home. Like, I need to work. I want to work. I want to take care of these people. And so we did, and maybe that was selfish, but we wanted a company to come back to, and so people made their decision what they needed to do, and most of my team ended up furloughing. Kannapolis was already closed, but because they were in a different they were not different county. Thank you. We were like, oh, hey, why don't can we use Kannapolis? And so for Kathy and I, it was like coming back home. She was in that store forever. I was there for 2.5 years. And so it was like visiting my parents' house, like, hey, we'll just hang out. And we did well. I think we set a record that month with me, Chantel, Barbara, and Eric and me. Like, that was it. That was all the salespeople. And I think we did more business than that store ever did in April. And it was different and crazy. And customers were just happy we were open, and they were driving, and phone sales. It was just...
Yeah, because you were calling your Pineville customers too to come up there.
Yeah. We were calling our Pineville customers to come up, because with it being closed, we couldn't do it. Like, I would do phone orders for them. I would meet them and let them sign their tickets in their car. Like, it was... We made it work, and Christian said, do what we need to do as long as it's legal, do what we have to do to support the business, to keep the business alive. And that's what we did. And not everyone agreed with it, but we all stayed on board, because at the end of the day, we're going to trust you and Manny and your judgment. So that's what we did.
You made a comment earlier that I don't think we talk about enough. You said we started the year on fire, and you're actually right. The first 11 weeks of 2020 were red hot.
Yeah.
Record setting, and we've just forgotten that, but I remember it was so red hot. We were about to break records for March, and everyone was going to hit crazy bonuses, and then boom,
bottom falls out.
It just like the brakes screeching hard.
Yeah.
Like, golly. And that also was painful for like everyone, just to have the business just kind of grind to a near screeching halt there. But we're so grateful for what you guys did and your mentality to like have a business to come back to, and we'll do what we need to keep it safe. I mean, even going to a different store up north, so that's just wild. How do you think you were able to maintain your level of performance during the pandemic?
I just took it as I'm at work and people need furniture, and I know this pandemic is scary, but we don't know enough about it. And at the end of the day, there's business to be had, and people need mattresses. People need furniture. People are still moving to Charlotte at a rapid pace. They need to get furniture from somewhere. And if Sam's Club can be open and they can do business, why can't us, big mom and pop shop, why can't we also do business and help our guests out? Because they looked to us for help, and no one else was open at that point. So we were kind of like a beam of hope for them that, hey, we're still going to try to conduct business and not be scared, and still do what we need to do and help them, because we're there for them at the end of the day. So
there's a lot of essential businesses that were open. So and it's pretty easy to maintain a social distance in a furniture store while shopping, or it's a whole lot of space and not a lot of people.
Well, plus you guys were smart. You guys ended up selling washers and dryers for a time, so that was a good way of going about it.
We don't talk about that one too much, but how difficult was it to sell and connect with your guests while wearing a mask all day?
It was definitely hard, but our customers and us, we kind of made a joke about it, because we're like, oh my God, these masks. And they're like, yeah, I know. Can I take it off for a minute? I'm like, if you want to, I can't tell you no. Enjoy your breath. Like, please do what you need to do. So like a lot of people said, smiling through the mask, because your eyes say a lot. And so, it was nice to at least both have that common ground. It was hard not to like shake people's hands, and people like me, Ava, Rebe, some of us were like, we are huggers. So not to be able to hug a guest after they spend an obscene amount of money with you is so hard as a salesperson that is a touchy person, to hug the guests and thank them. So, fist bumps or whatever. So the mask, it definitely was a step back from what you're used to, but we made it work, because everybody was challenged with it. Salespeople, customers, we all just had to do it. So we just did it and made it work.
So as you look back on your Broad River career, what do you think has been the most challenging year for you?
I would probably say 2020. I was diagnosed with a chronic stomach issue that I didn't know I had, which was hard to deal with, because I didn't want to go into a hospital at the time of COVID because I didn't know what was wrong, but I had to, and I was worried I was going to catch it or whatever because that was in the very beginning, like April of 2020. And then I ended up having to have a surgery from like that previous car accident that we talked about. And I ended up stepping down out of management after a while, which I hated giving up my gallery because it's very important to me. But from mentally, I needed a break. Yeah. Customers were different. The guests were different. Salespeople were, it was just a very hard time. Tensions were high and it was a very aggressive time. And I just needed the break. So it was hard for me to say goodbye to that and step down for a while, but I needed to do that for myself and for the store because I needed that break.
I think there's such a positive message there though. Like, hey, if you need a mental or a physical break, you have to allow yourself that. And also like those can lead to our most challenging years.
Right.
Health is such something that when it's good, we're grateful for it. We need to be grateful for it. And when it's not good, it can cause issues that lead into other things. But conversely, what has been your most rewarding year?
I would probably say probably this year, to be honest with you. There's been so much change at my store. I'm not a manager anymore. I'm an expert, but I feel like I'm a mentor. People from all over the company call me for help. And that is such a rewarding feeling because now I've been here long enough that people are like, oh, she kind of knows what to do. And people ask me for help. And that's just so awesome. And that just fills my heart with so much joy to be able to help my fellow family, my work family, because I had that to an extent when I started. And I feel like me doing that for someone else helps them grow their business, grow their family, and hopefully they'll be in my position one day. Yeah. That's my goal, and that's very important to me. And so being able to be that resource for other people makes me just so happy.
To pay it forward.
Yes.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
So I like to say that purpose begins with identity. And what can you tell us about the identity of the flagship? Why is it called the flagship?
That's such a great question. I've been so happy to answer this one. There's such a preconceived notion of what Pineville really is. And I tell people Pineville's what you make it. So I'm sure there's negative about it. She's the backbone of your company. She's 20% of your business. I don't know the right number, but she's a big part of this company and the boat that steers the ship or the boat that steers, whatever. But Pineville is very much a family, maybe a big family, bigger than most. And it's a great store to be at. It's an aggressive store because we're nice sharks. We're sharks, but we're nice. And we are there to do a job. We're there to take care of our guests. And there's a lot of us, and it's a very big store. So we are competitive with ourselves, but you've got some heavy hitters in there that have been there a long time. You've got veterans, but we take care of our new guys. We take care of our new people. And we're building a new culture with the processes, with the C4, with kind of going back to basics and relearning and restructuring because there's been so much change in that store and because COVID just went crazy. So Pineville is it's the backbone. We are 101. We're Black Diamond and we hold ourselves to that standard, and we welcome everyone else to do the same.
We welcome you to follow our lead. That's
yes.
Great. Well, you model it first and
right.
Yeah, it's and you guys just won Yoda last month.
Yes, right. I heard that was a very stiff competition.
Yeah,
so.
It was. And Pineville was the very first store that we opened in May 2003, before I even joined the company, by the way. So 19 years. Next year it'll celebrate its 20th year.
That's crazy.
And it's achieving greater success each and every year. So it's really phenomenal. And I think you just kind of shared what that identity means. It's the backbone of the company.
And we take that seriously. It's a very serious honor to have that. I mean, responsibility. We have a lot of pressure on us, but we try to do what we need to do and overextend that. We always try to better ourselves and set the example. And if we can do it at our level, everyone can do it. So we're working on that. We're not perfect, but we're getting there.
It's great to see it rise above. Yoda, for those who don't know on our audience, is Store of the Month. And it's the super competitive. And Pineville won it for the first time ever last month.
And a cheeseburger trophy too.
Oh, and a cheeseburger trophy, which tell them what the cheeseburger trophy is.
Cheeseburger trophy is what we call our mattress sleep systems, and is a bunch of numbers behind it. And people always thought we would never be able to do it. I didn't get to reach it as a sales manager myself, so I'm a little jealous but happy. for Cody, because he's really kind of coming into his own, and he's like my little brother. So I really try to make sure that he is on the map. It's his time. So it's so exciting to have that, and people never thought Pineville would get it. So we're trying to go for month 2. So it's great.
When you get a cheeseburger, you want all the fixings and all the toppings.
Yeah, everything.
Just like when you get a sleep system, you want the
whole
pillow
thing.
and the sheets, the protectors, the power base.
Yeah, we want all of that.
And Pineville got the cheeseburger trophy, meaning the best sleep month of all of our stores last month.
That's a hard accomplishment, especially at our structure, at how much we have to sell to get to that. So we're really proud of it.
Okay, so fellow memory maker. So, the flagship, as you kind of alluded to, has been producing very strong top shelf talent since you arrived there, and you called them some heavy hitters, nice sharks.
Yes, we're nice sharks.
And it's got some swagger to it. Who have been some of the memorable rock stars that you have worked with at the flagship?
I mean, I can't go without talking about Frank. Frank is basically my work husband. He's great. He's a good friend. His family is just amazing. Patricia is like my work mom. She's amazing, always taking care of us. Ava is just a beam of light. She's just, her energy is so energetic. Jim Walker, Skywalker, lay down. He's great. Cody's coming into his own. Ed, our 2 new heavy hitters, Dorothy and Sherry, are just going to be rock stars. Jack is Anna's son, and he's young and doing really well. James is good. He's brand new. We've got Todd, Rushme, Zach Silver. We've just got a whole group. Rebe, the whole group is just Carolyn Anderson. The whole store is just great in its own. And then we had, Kay Edwards was in there. Antoine was in there. We've had some really good, heavy duty salespeople come through that building.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And what about some of your fellow memory makers from Mooresville or Kannapolis? Is there anyone who really stands out to you? You mentioned a few earlier from Mooresville, or who really helped you along your path during your early years at the river?
Well, the first person I would tell you that helped me on my path was Kevin Kuhlman. He showed me the science behind and the math behind the company. So beforehand, I kind of knew what to do, but he really sat me down and said, hey, I told him I want to own my own store. I want to be the GM of the store one day, of one of them. He said, okay, well, this is what we need to do to get you there. And he really sat me down and really explained it. And I really thank him for that, because he gave me a lot of knowledge about everything. And then Sandy Rulin, just watching, one, she's a Cubs fan, so she's family already, but she is just so, she's perfection when it comes to helping guests and stuff. And then Dan Pascialo is just, he's just crazy. And then Lisa Griffin too. She was the mom. So I had some really good helpers there that just took me in and just loved on me at the beginning.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So, furnishing life's best memories. That's our organizational purpose, right? 4 simple words. So let's chat about some of your best memories here at the river. Do you have any standout milestone memories that really kind of just shine or rise above for you?
Yes. So I won't say her name, but I had this guest that was just the sweetest thing. And it was last year and a half ago. She came in looking for a mattress and was scared because she wanted a Tempur-Pedic her whole life. She was in her 60s, and she didn't think she could afford it. She didn't think she had the financial background to do it. And so I put her in a Pro Adapt, right in the good price point for her. And we ended up getting her with a third, like a lease to own. And afterwards, she thanked me and hugged me when she was older with a mask on, and she hugged me anyways and started to cry. And I said, why are you crying? And she was, because, and I told her, you just helped get a kid off the floor with Beds for Kids and Hope to Dream. And it made her cry. And I said, why are you crying? And she goes, because I was one of those women in the beginning that had to get help from someone like them. And I never thought in a million years I'd ever be able to buy myself a Tempur-Pedic. Wow. And here I am, and now I've come full circle, and I actually can help somebody else in need. And she goes, that just makes my whole life complete. And so that just strikes a chord, like, wow, this is what we do. And yeah, we're selling furniture and mattresses, but we're really helping change their life, and that's incredibly important. And I'll always remember her, and she still calls me to this day. So
I can feel the passion for helping others. And we like to say furnishing life's best memories is for others. Right. That's like it's outward focusing. So that's a really cool story.
Yeah, I love her. She's awesome.
So another one, what about the Purpose Summit in August 2019, Purpose 828? I believe, did you attend that one?
I did. I got to go for half a day. I had to go finish closing the store, so I missed out on Dr. V. I was so upset because I heard he was just awesome. But it was great. It was just getting to know other managers and getting to be there and learning and getting that experience, and then bringing it back and trying to, teach our HFCs and our salespeople and our management that it was just really nice to come together and get to meet them. And just, I love that. I think more people should be invited to that, like your experts or your people that are tracking to be a sales manager, because it gives them perspective, and it also shows the investment that you're making into the company by bringing in these people and knowledge. And I loved it, and I can't wait for us to have another one in person. So
yeah, with the way the company's growing, it may have to be a ballroom or a stadium or something. It's we won't all fit in Fort Mill anymore.
No.
So what about the gala in January 2020 celebrating the 2019 achievements?
We had so much fun that night. It was just, we were so excited to be there, and it was just so much fun. And it was in a new venue. I can't remember where we were at. It had beautiful backdrop. It was really nice. You fed us well. It was those, I love collecting my little glass statues, and we just had a blast. I think we didn't know what was coming, but we just had to step and repeat. We were silly and fun, and you get to see your friends from other stores and celebrate each other and cheer each other on when you go up to the podium and have a conversation. And it was just a good time, and we appreciate that. And I'm so excited for the one this year because we are ready.
It's
be ready.
I think it's already being planned.
Be ready.
It's going to be good. So earlier, before we were on camera, you were sharing about the number of sheets that you guys are collecting at your store with the program that we're running right now. Yeah. And so I know you've got a heart for volunteering, and especially with Beds for Kids, and you just talked about getting kids off the floor. Talk to us about do you have any special memories from your volunteer activities with Beds for Kids or with the company? Beds
for Kids, you did it right. That first week or two that we started, you had us all go volunteer at Beds for Kids, and that's where I was introduced for them, and I fell in love with them right away. And just their story that they shared, and now they've moved to their bigger building. But one thing they said to me last year was, our position and goal is to go out of business and not be needed. And unfortunately, I think they said they can fill the Hornets Stadium with how many people are going to sleep on the floor tonight. So the fact that even during COVID, our company, you, Manny, and the rest of the company made sure that we weren't going to stop giving back to our community was just so great. And that's why Pineville, Carolyn really backed on this one, because I was just going to do it myself. And Carolyn's like, hey, this is our community. Let's get everybody involved. And, we're the biggest store in the company. We should be able to do 100 by ourselves. And I'm pretty sure we're going to. So, that's awesome. We've got to give back to our families,
100%. Our communities is where we live, work, and play, and we got to bring everyone up.
And they're a great company. They're a great great organization, and volunteering for them, it changes your life, and to really see what people go through if you can help them. It's a very moving, emotional time, and it's like the kids want to show you things, they want to play, they want to do stuff, and it's just awesome. It's a great. I always tell people to go try it. It's great.
You've been on a few
multiples.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. So. The Sleep Ninja. Is that your nickname? I
guess. I think you named me that for sure. I'll take it.
So you obviously have a strong passion for selling sleep. I don't know who named you the Sleep Ninja, but I think I saw it written somewhere. How did you develop this passion for selling sleep? Where do you think it's come from?
My own personal struggles, and how my husband and I went through, I think, 5 mattresses in 5 years before we found a Tempur-Pedic. And I laid on it, and I asked John Scalino, what is this miracle mattress and why is it so expensive? And he explained it to me, and I had to talk Nick into it, my husband. And we just end up going with it, and I love it. I've had mine for 7 years. I named her Layla. She gets a name. And I joke with people when I sell them, like, what are you going to name it? And they make a joke, but they tell me what they name their mattress when they get it delivered. And it just made me love it, because I was actually on a cane at one point that a lot of people don't know about, because I hit it, and I was taking a lot of medicine that I didn't want to put in my body. And the Tempur-Pedic that I have made me more aware and sleeps better, so I don't have to take all of that. So it helped me change my life. So I love it because I can help change other people's life through sleep.
Very cool. What is your favorite mattress to sell?
Not to be biased, but my favorite is the Tempur, just because I have 2 in my house. I haven't had a cold in 6 years. I just sleep on it really well, but I don't just try to show everybody. I show everybody it because out of respect, they all need to learn about it. But at the same point, I'll show anybody and make sure that they get exactly what they want and give them exactly what they need for themselves. And if they don't want a Tempur, I'm not going to force them into something they don't want. If they want a Purple, if they want a Stearns & Foster, I'm going to give them whatever they want, but I'm going to make sure they get exactly what they want so they don't have an issue.
Now, I know that you've got a very good proficiency for selling pillows and doing pillow fittings, because you did one for my brother when he visited a few years ago, and maybe you even fitted me for a pillow in the store. I can't remember. I'm sure I've gotten comfort tests from various folks. What is your favorite pillow to sell?
My favorite pillow is the Storm series. I actually have several Storm pillows. I love Bed Gear product. I have everything they make. But the Storm 1 is my favorite pillow because it's adjustable, it's washable. My husband is a Storm 2. And then I also have their kid pillows that we got rid of, but I bought like 10 of those things. They're little kidney pillows. I still use them to this day. They're great. But yeah, the Storm series is my absolute favorite.
What's your favorite thing about Bed Gear?
Bed Gear is just, they're very aware of themselves and they are just awesome. They marry our product to theirs. So they build it with our guest in mind and just people buy and sleep in general. It's going to air wick. It's going to help airflow. It's going to make your mattress perform at its best. So why not buy something to enhance your performance, not make it worse? Why not?
Well, I think their branding and
they're awesome.
Performance bedding, performance pillows, and sleep fuels everything. I mean, that's the perfect tagline.
Their mattress and their sheets are fantastic. I have several pairs of those sheets.
So we just added another great vendor, Purple. Do you have any early thoughts on Purple now that we've added them to our already extensive lineup?
Purple is very different than anything that we carry. It's a mattress in a box, but it's definitely a heavy hitter. People know that just by name and they may not know anything about it, but they just want to touch it and try it out. We just got it like 2 weeks ago or so. So we're still learning the product. The vendors seem really nice and I think it's going to do well for us. And it just gives us, hey, if you're willing to spend this, do you still want to look at this or do you want to look at this? So it just gives us another stepping stone in our already like arsenal. It just gives us a little bit for everybody. So yeah, I think it's going to do well for us.
Okay. So what do you think, talking about premier performance differentiation, what do you think differentiates your level of performance from others in retail sales?
I'm extremely structured and I kind of have a way I do things. And so everyone is customer oriented, right? Or we wouldn't be in this business. But my customer satisfaction is very important to me. And I like to tackle my guest issues head on. I try not to have any. But if I do, I like to talk to them myself instead of someone else, because then they know that I'm there. They have my cell number and I try to check on them. And that's where CXM comes into play because I do use it as my savings account and as my follow-up process. And I check my activities and I document them and make sure I try to stay with them. And that's important to me. And I think that's what sets me maybe a little bit apart compared to some others. So.
Okay. How important is goal setting to you?
Extremely. Like I said, I'm very goal oriented. I've been in sports my whole life in sales. So you're always chasing a goal. And if you don't, then where do you know where you're going to end up?
Okay, Kym, what are your goals for 2022? I
try to be realistic. And so I said 1.5, which sounds crazy, but I mean, that's more than I did last year.
What did you do last year?
1.25 something, but 30% sleep. So when you're selling sleep systems, they take longer and they're a lot more intimate and more close. So it takes longer than to sell furniture. So 30% is a heavy goal, but I'm hoping to get there.
I love it. Those are powerhouse goals.
Yeah.
Okay. I got a quick get to know Kym Truglio icebreaker question for you. When you think about your legacy and how you want others to remember you or to think about you, what 3 words come to mind that you'd like to describe you?
This is hard because I don't talk about myself. So I had to ask other people what they thought sounded like me. And a couple of us came up with the same thing. Generous, passionate, and integrity.
I could see all 3 of those.
Yeah.
Generous, passionate, and integrity.
Yeah.
Got it. Feel like I know you a little bit better now. May have already come up with those. Unsung heroes. I know that it always takes a village to achieve phenomenal success like you've achieved. Who are some of the unsung heroes, colleagues of your world? And tell us what they do to help you.
Currently, like Matt's been really great. He's our new GM, and he kind of came in and just kind of chilled everybody out a little bit and just try to get stuff on track from last year. It was a difficult year for Pineville. We were in growing pains and transition. Pierce, he's not in my store right now, but I just adore Pierce. He's fantastic. We need to keep him at all costs. Amanda has been really great too. And we just had some really good people along the way, but they're right now like strong holding the store. Ed, Cody, like our management team right now is doing really well. So
awesome. Love it. It's great to have good managers and leaders.
Yeah.
Okay. Our company's word of the year for 2022 is thrive. You certainly thrived in 2021. I think that was your best year, right?
Yes.
Okay. And in spite of a global pandemic that we've talked about. So what does it mean for you to thrive?
Continue to do what I'm doing, not change who I am, because I feel like I'm I'm pretty set with how I am, and I just do what I need to do. But bettering other people has always been something I've been passionate about, and helping other people, like helping our new salespeople, helping the management staff when they need it. I mean, I used to help do it myself, and having that extra help, I think, helps them be able to achieve what they need. So me thriving is helping my store thrive, my company thrive, and also outside of it thrive. My family, my husband is important, my family is important, and volunteering. I mean, that's how I thrive, is helping give back. It does it's part of me. So
what advice would you give to your fellow memory maker or a fellow memory maker to help him or her thrive this year?
Don't get bogged down by the things you can't fix. And that's something I have to also do, because I get so involved that when I can't do something, it's hard. So, but it sets you back, because then it sets your whole mood and everything back. So find a mentor that will help you kind of steer you back when something's going off the rails. And that's kind of what I try to do for other people, to help them, because when they thrive, we all do.
Okay. And what's the best advice, or some of the best advice you've ever received?
Dress for the job you want, not the job you have.
Okay. Is that why you always dress for success?
Hey, you said Mr. Wanna could come in at any point, so you always be ready.
Okay. What advice would you give a new hire starting on the sales floor today?
Especially for my store being so big, don't let the first day overwhelm you. You're going to get a lot of stuff handed to you, and it's overwhelming at first, but just trust the process. Trust that the managers and the sales team that you just got hired into are going to help you. We are a family, and we want you to succeed, because when you succeed, we all succeed, because we're only as good as the weakest person on the team. So we don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to say, I don't know. Guests will follow you anywhere as long as you're honest. So don't be afraid to take the challenge on, and just know you'll get there.
Okay. So you've been with us for several years now. If you could go back to your first day, what would you tell your younger self about what life is going to be like at the river?
Be patient. It's coming.
Okay.
I didn't think at one point that I would stay. And then, like I said, when I went to Mooresville, that really kind of changed it for me. And just be patient, because it will come, and you'll get where you need to go.
I think that's such good advice for new hires, especially starting on the sales floor. Everyone's runway is different, but if they can just wait till it starts to click and the paychecks click, or the tribal knowledge or intrinsic knowledge clicks, we try to figure out how we can accelerate their path and to success. Some of it's just trust us, follow this process. But if they are patient and they want to succeed in this role, they absolutely can.
Yes, they can.
So I think, well, I know we're biased, but we believe that our culture at the river is unique and truly special. And I think the culture of the flagship is really unique and special with you there. What is your favorite thing about our culture here at the river? And in your opinion, what is it that makes our culture special?
It's changing, and it's very HFC focused, I would say, like salespeople, front desk, back desk, corporate. It's very interchangeable. And you guys don't live at corporate by a different way that we live on the sales floor. And we try to make it a big community, a big family. And not all companies are that way. It's kind of like you're this and front's this. And we're kind of all one, HFCs. You call us all memory makers. That makes we're all one together. So even though we might work in different positions and we're at different levels, we're all still memory makers at the end of the day. And a lot of people don't do that. And also our owners, you and Manny come in, Stacy, Renee, like you guys come in on big holiday weekends, and you give time when you can be with your families to check in on us and say hi and support us. So that's a lot of companies aren't doing that. And you guys are very visible, and we're thankful for that. We love to see you guys in the store. So
it's getting tougher and tougher to be in as many stores as much as possible. But Pineville is one that I probably need to make sure it's on my pit stop very regularly. Hey, what is one thing about Broad River that you think would surprise others from the outside looking in?
We're not just a furniture company. We're a family. We're local. A lot of people don't know that we are a local company. So when you're buying from us, you're actually putting the money back into the company. It's a small business. We're just a big small business.
Yeah.
And we sell furniture and mattresses. We sell the whole system. We sell hopefully sheets again. We sell, everything you can think of to take care of your home, patio. So people don't understand that Ashley Furniture just isn't furniture. We're so much more than that.
I think that's very well said. You hit it on all the points there. Hey, what is something about you that would surprise your fellow memory makers?
I don't know if it surprised people, but I think I was 3 or 4, and I was Miss Congeniality for like a little pageant. I hugged all the judges and got a trophy. So,
really?
Yeah, I was like 3 or 4.
Okay. Well, that is somewhat surprising. Hey, if you could change one thing about the company today with the wave of a magic wand, what would it be?
I've thought long and hard about this one. I would change the way that the sales manager position is structured with the commission structure, and I would change the way that customer care is integrated into our system. They're great, but I think we need more between the two.
Okay.
Store to them.
Yeah.
They're great, but there's things that we could definitely work on to make it even better for the guests at the end of the day.
There's opportunities on both sides.
They're great though. We need help and they need help, and they're great. We just need to make that better for the guest.
I think we'll chase those two conversations a little bit deeper offline. Okay, so let's say that I decided to retire and I gave you the keys to the company. You've done such a great job. You're now the new president and CEO of Broad River Retail, and today's your first day in the new role. What would be your first order of business?
I would give everyone an extra week of PTO with no blackout dates.
That's not...
After 2020 and some of the stuff that us as a company have been through, and people that were here the whole time, it was a long 2 years, and we're getting out of it, hopefully. And just extra time off is always great. And I know I'm a workaholic, so to take time off is hard, but I think there's people that would highly enjoy, and you guys have done great about it too, but hey, the more the merrier.
Yeah, no, it's so funny because so many people come here and answer that question, and a lot of them are benefits and PTO related. And we listen, and we added the Thrive time off, and we added,
which is great,
and we broke up the semesters, and so that's why a lot of people are off in July as opposed to getting it done by June 30th, and the new parenting stuff that we've added. Yeah. There's more there. I think it's probably roots of where we've come from as a really small company, but I think there's like more to give back for what we've gone through in 2020. And so more to come.
Yeah, you guys have been doing really great about that too. We're great. That Thrive Day really helps.
Yeah.
And the PTO for volunteering too is also awesome.
Yeah, thanks for mentioning that. Yeah. By the way, what you guys may not all know, but if you do want to shop in Pineville and you reach out to me, if you happen to be a friend of me or we work together. Kym takes care of all of my VIP customers. So you've taken care of several folks who've sold them a mattress or taken care of their furniture because we've got that trust. I know they'll be very well looked after and taken care of.
It's an honor, and I appreciate that because they want to make sure they're friends of yours, but they're also clients too. We want to make sure they're taken care of and at a timely time.
Yeah, well, we know that you're going to do a great job, and Thanks. We know you know what you're doing, and not that others don't.
Right.
But so thank you for taking care of those VIP guests.
Thank you for trusting me with them.
Absolutely. So to someone who is not a memory maker and is thinking of coming to the river, what advice would you offer to that person?
Just do it. I mean, it's a lot at the beginning because it's new and there's so much, and we have so much, the technology that we didn't have, and the client and the C4 process. But once you learn it, it's worth it. Be patient, and you're going to make great money, and you're going to have fun because my work family is dysfunctional as we can be. They're still my family, and I would do anything for them at the end of the day. Like, that's my family as well, outside of my real family. Yeah. They're my work family, and I would do anything for them. So if you be ready to work hard, but be ready to be rewarded and be excited to help people make memories. So
that's awesome. Any final words you want to share, Kym?
No, just thanks for having me, and go Cubs.
Go Cubs. And I got one more thing I want to read you. So Matty P asked him if he had anything he wanted to say. And I just want to read this real quick. Kym has been invaluable to our success here at the flagship. She was integral in helping me transition from Gastonia to running the flagship, and her knowledge, passion, and team spirit cannot be overstated.
Oh, thanks, Matty P.
Yeah, thanks, Matty P. You do such a great job. So this has been fun. Kym Truglio, perennial home furnishings expert, multiple million-dollar memory maker, on her path to 1.5 with that 30% sleep, takes care of our VIP customers, and probably above all things, she helps our community. She leads our volunteer efforts. Not only is she setting the bar and the standard at the flagship and raising them to helping contribute with that awesome team to raising their standard of excellence, modeling that for our company, being the backbone of our company for retail, and taking them now to Black Diamond, but also just raising the standards of excellence for our volunteer efforts and giving back. And so when we talk about furnishing life's best memories, it truly is for other people. And other people are our fellow memory makers, the families of our memory makers, the guests that we have the privilege of serving, our vendors, our partners, and our neighbors in our community. And it's all those stakeholders. So thank you so much, Kym. Thanks for being here. Thanks for spending some time with us. And go Cubs go.
Yeah, thank you, Charlie.
And hey, this has been Kym Truglio. This has been Stories from the River. We bring you fresh new content every Wednesday. Please mash that like button or that subscribe button and tell us how we can get better. And we try to bring you great content every Wednesday. Watch us wherever you're watching or listening now. It could be on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, Google, Amazon. And we'll see you next week. Thanks so much, Kym.
Thanks.